Hey everyone, Heavy J here. Creating characters can be daunting for players sometimes, I know this. While there aren't really any hard and fast rules for character creation etiquette, there are some common taboos you should avoid during character creation. These taboos are real party killers in my view. And in this video, I'm going to discuss some tips on how to steer clear of what I think those party killers are today on Fat Dragon Adventure. So the first party killer, or taboo if you will, is what I call the lone wanderer. This is a type of character that will constantly ignore the party and put them at risk for selfish gains. I think that players create the lone wanderer soon discover that this type of character really leads to a recipe of frustration, not only for themselves, but for everybody at the table. I think the lone wanderer is really nothing more than a sulking, boorish character and a tired old trope that really needs to be retired from stories and games. Because of their selfish behavior, I think the lone wanderer is a real danger of becoming what I think is an unintentional antagonist. Remember, TTRPGs are all about the whole group, not just one player. If you've ever known someone that likes to play this type of character all the time at the table, then give this video a thumbs up. Next is what I call the Edgelord Supreme. Now, a touch of mystery is intriguing to be sure, but a character who's relentlessly negative or rude to everyone quickly becomes a burden. And I think this leads to the murder hobo mentality. And narratively speaking, hey, they're as interesting as a potato. In fact, I did a whole video on how to handle murder hobos, and I'll put a link down in the doobly-doo for you guys. You should check that out. Now, it's important to remember that a well-rounded character should possess a mix of both strengths and flaws. And while a dark past or a cynical outlook can add complexity, it shouldn't overshadow other aspects of their personality. You know, a character that is capable of both light and darkness is far more engaging than a one-dimensional character who is perpetually mired in gloom and death. And if that's what you're going for, I would suggest reconsidering. You're going to have a lot more fun at the table with a character that's not so flat and unimaginative, in my opinion. Next up is what I call the min-maxing menace. Now, optimizing your character's abilities can be fun, let's not kid ourselves. But if it overshadows everyone else's role or makes you the sole star of the show, it really defeats the purpose of a collaborative game. Personally, I like flawed characters. It adds some flavor to your game and can lead to some really fun role-playing experiences. I really also like leaning into my dump stacks when I create a character. I remember one time I ended up with a -3 intelligence modifier when I was building a Goliath character for a D&D one-shot at my local game store that I played every Tuesday night. But instead of being depressed about this, it gave me an opportunity to play him as this huge dumpy toddler that was easily influenced by everybody around him. So you can see that with some imagination, your dump stats could be your best source of defining your character for future role-playing experiences. Now, with all that being said, here is my best advice for character creation. Before diving headfirst into character creation, consider these two key points. First is party power. Think about how your character's skills and their personality will complement the party's strengths and weaknesses. Are you going to be the tank? Are you going to be the healer? Are you going to be the charismatic negotiator? Or something else entirely? Think about that. Second is setting and lore. Every campaign that I've ever created has its own setting and lore. Talk to your game master to ensure your character concept aligns with the world that they've created. For example, in my current one-shot, I told my players we will be hunting dragons, and that their backstory should include something about them being known in the area as dragon hunters. And I did this so I could set the expectation right from the start about what we were going to be doing. So now they will also focus their skills and abilities around killing dragons. You know, I can't really stress this enough. Remember, as a player, it doesn't do you any good to create a vampire hunter because you think it's cool and spending the entire campaign slaying dragons. So speak to your GM and find out what they have planned before you make your character. You know, it's never a bad idea to discuss things with your GM and fellow players. Remember that all TTRPGs are all about creating a shared story and a cohesive group. So make sure your character adds something to the collaborative tapestry, if you will. Try to avoid the lone wanderer or the edgelord supreme or even the min-maxing menace. If you do, trust me, you're going to be happier in the end. So, what do you consider taboos when creating characters? Have you ever played the lone wolf, the edgelord, or the overpowered min-maxing menace? And if you did, how did that work out for you? Did you like it? Also, GMs, do you let your players know what you have planned ahead of time? And if you do, does it make a difference in their character builds? Does it enhance the fun at the table when you let them know what's going on? I'd like to hear about your games, I really would. If you enjoyed this video, and you can support this channel by becoming a dragon writer, then please visit our Patreon page. The link is down in the doobly-doo. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you never miss our next episode. Until then, ride that fat dragon, and thanks for watching. See you next time on Fat Dragon Adventure. Every campaign has its own setting and lore. Talk to your game master to ensure your character concept aligns with what they have created. Ah! I was doing so good too. Oh my gosh. For example, in my current one-shot that I told my players we will be playing a dungeon hunting adventure. A dungeon hunting? Oh my god, how about a dragon hunting adventure? It's going to be one of those days.